Visions of bodies being burnt.
I can't believe you chose horror.
What the fuck? Oh, I'm hot.
You're so fucking...
I'm so fucking sweaty. Welcome to Australia, cunt.
Do we need to get you a towel?
Probably not that the wind's up.
Hi, we're CDR. This is Bryn. I'm Matt, and today we're reviewing Visions of Bodies Being Burnt by Clipping, full stop, all lowercase.
Horror.
This one is a completely off-the-wall one, and I'm glad you chose it, Bryn.
It was probably the most interesting ones that you gave me the choice of last week.
Yeah, I did reveal what the other albums were to Bryn off air, but I'm glad you chose this one.
I'm glad I chose this one too. This is at least interesting. How often do you hear a horror album?
Not often. So, I mean, in terms of like the album's choice, this is one of the few times where I have absolutely no idea whether you liked it, loved it. I'm kind of interested to see what you think. I'm excited to see what your opinion on it is.
And where did you come across Clippings?
So this was a YouTube rabbit hole thing that I went down, and I'm pretty happy that I did, to be honest.
Yeah.
But this is a result of me being bored at one point in time in my life, taking note of an album and then going, oh, Bryn will like this.
So let's take him to the album cover, which is horrifying in itself, being
Teeth.
Teeth. Canine teeth. And I can't tell if it's human teeth.
I think it fits.
It sets up, and let's jump straight into the first track being the intro.
I want to know what you thought of the album as a whole first. I'm most interested in that. So tell me, what did you think of it?
What did I think?
Yeah. Sum up your experience, your first time listening to the album. What was it?
Sick.
Enjoyment?
Or both.
Okay, sorry. I thought sick and enjoyment might have been synonymous, but they're different. Okay,
And they're both the same. It is a sick album because it has gone along and done a theme, and it's more of a story. And this is what I really wanted when you come to listening to rap is it's not the gangster rap where they're just trying to diss on each other. It's like, look at my big house, am I right? And all the money I got, blah, 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 which we do get a little bit of that in fucking 96 Campbell. But yeah, most of the time it's like, I like rap when it's a story. They've got their own characters. Let's take into Kanye West's My Dark Twisted Fantasy, where it's a story. And that's kind of cool. Whether you can go anywhere the fuck you want on this, and they have gone wherever they fuck on this to different scenarios and horror scenes. And I love it how they have introduced a few instruments and engines into the album, which quite frankly is majority used in horror films.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're talking about the apprehension engine and the water phone.
Water phone?
The water phone.
What the hell's that?
It's a cylinder-like tubes that you just run a violin bow off it, and it just gives creepy, freaky little sounds. So you can hit it and you can run it across. It's horrifying.
Okay, so you liked it. I'm pretty happy to hear that you liked it, because when I listened through it the first time, I didn't really know what I was in for. I'd only heard the intro track, which was interesting of itself. But the first listen through, I'm like, actually, there's a lot to sort of sink your teeth into, no pun intended. The rapping never felt like rapping, right? It worked so well with the music that it felt like it was spoken word poetry. It felt like it hit this different distinction, right?
Wait, are you saying rap is spoken poetry?
No, I'm saying that in this instance,
You mean like how rap is just rhythm and poetry?
I understand what that is, but I don't appreciate... So, like, the Busta Rhymes stuff, like, because that's the main example that we've had on this podcast.
Yeah, fair enough.
Is it feels like there's a lot more disconnect between what is actually trying to be done musically and what is actually being said. It feels like there's a backing track and he's speaking to it. Whereas in this particular album, it feels like they're integrated, right? It feels like they're integrated in a way that is interesting, excites, and builds tension. Like, for instance, take 96 Neve Campbell, that track. The track has that dun dun dun, this bitch, boss, and that blur sound throughout that kind of gets you anxious. And then they use the door knock sounds as part of the beat. And it's like, it fits the narrative so well because it's honestly about some person coming around and and knocking people off, basically.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it how they did just drop little things in here and there with just random sounds. Like, the fuck?
But it gave that spoken word poetry, make it feel like that. Like,
it gave it energy and emotion, which is this whole album is emotional, and there's no time to breathe or to relax because it's just super intense the whole fucking way.
Yeah, agreed.
Even during the interludes, I was just like, oh my god.
Taking a deep breath.
You think you're trying to take a deep breath, but really it's that part of the scene where it creates suspense. And there is 3 interludes in this album. Yep. All 3 of them are hard to get through because you're just like, my fucking god, what's going to happen?
So were there any real standout moments for you then?
Well, the door knocking in Campbell was probably up there with one of mine. Oh, the outro to Say the Name, which was the bell chimes and the warp electronics, which I was like, that was pretty sick.
I really quite liked it because that track seems to be about someone being impregnated with a devil baby.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. And that gave me a lot of, I don't know if you've listened to Tyler, the Creator, but Tyler, the Creator, was, when he did his album, when he first did his album, was a horror one as well.
Oh, okay.
And it's very much following murderers and killers.
Right, okay.
And so I wasn't coming into this fresh like you were, where I have heard something along this line. And that's why I appreciate the fact that this is, I would put this almost next to Jane Dawson as one of the most artistic that I've heard this year.
Sure.
Being that it's very, very artsy.
Oh, absolutely.
And
I mean, there would be a category of people who would listen to this and probably hate it.
Oh, yeah, Cass is one of them.
Okay, I figured that would be the case.
She's like, this is horrifying. I don't ever want to hear this again.
I did warn you that might be the case. I'm glad that ended up being true.
And it was fun just watching her just like, I don't like this.
But getting back to the Say the Name, like that mute, this is the thing about the words mixing really well into the music. The story is about, like, it feels like the genesis of a devil, basically. And the music changes at the end of the song to this, like, it is melodic, but it's not enjoyably melodic intentionally, right? And it has those awkward metallic sounds that mix in a way that is foreboding whilst carrying the tune to the end. It's like the song's lyrics played with the way that the music was constructed in a great way.
So we finally got another album where the music and the lyrics come together quite well,
absolutely,
even when he goes into acapellas or when the beat drops and it brings in some freaky sound, it's straight back into the chorus and then they switch up again.
Yeah, the way that this album has been constructed is interesting basically throughout. I would argue that the first half of the album is more interesting than the second, but that's nitpicking, to be honest. All my favorite tracks end up being in the first half.
I understand. By the time you get to the second half, I've heard a lot of the same sounds and the same creepiness, and like I'm fine to stop.
Yeah, and I actually think the stronger tracks are at the front half of the album. Like, for me, I reckon the best track on the album comfortably is Something Underneath.
I was about to say I thought you would say that.
That song is out of control.
You think that one's out of control?
Here's the precursor to me listening to it for the first time. I'm sitting at my desk at work, typing away, just minding my own business, and here comes this raise up out the dirt.
Yeah.
The beat go down, down, down. I'm like, what? And then like there's like these sounds in the track. And the beat goes down, 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 and then and he starts like spitfiring at me, and I'm like, oh okay.
The fast beats.
And then the tribal drums build in the background. I'm like, I'm starting to get like anxious, and I get like halfway through the song, and then the phone rings. I'm like, no, no, I have to ride this one to hell. And then it breaks at the midway point, and the rap almost picks up in speed and changes the
that's that acapella that I was talking about.
So acapella, not that part. So when it's like birds in the trees don't sing, so like that part, yes. But then when it gets into the next part after that, it almost feels like the rap picks up like about 25% speed and hits at a different rate, and then he's like, teeth sharp like collar, bone hard like dick, and then like the next part comes in, and you get that static drums in over the top, and then the tribal drums kick back in again, and he basically spitfire raps all the way out to the end. It's just like this. Oh, I think it's awesome. I really liked that track.
Yeah, cool.
Like, I was like enjoying the first few tracks, and then I heard this track, and I'm like, it sold me on the album entirely. Yeah, I was like, as soon as I heard that, I'm like, yeah, I'm on board. I'll give this a go, and I consequently end up listening to the thing like 10 times. So,
oh wow,
yeah, have heard it and have been like walking around the house going, "You're just another body for the pile, body for the pile."
And you should probably take your last breath right about now.
That song's also pretty good.
That is pretty sick. Check the Lock.
Oh yeah, I like Check the Lock.
Check the Lock I like the story behind it.
Yeah.
Like, he runs a motherfucking city.
City,
Yeah, they know.
Yeah.
But he checks the lock every time he walks
Yeah.
by the door. Check the lock. And it was, just a whole song about paranoia.
Yeah.
Even though you're the kingpin of a town.
He's checking under the hood of his
checking
car.
under the hood. Yeah, the gin
Checking
bottle
the
faces
exhaust.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not going to get in the car full of G.
Yeah.
I
enjoyed
really
that song
enjoyed it.
for
It was a good story. And, there's every now and then, there's just an offset story in the album, and you just go, "Oh, that's pretty cool."
See, I
like
also
working up to that,
Yeah.
that anticipation of some horrifying
Yeah.
killing story. None of them really jumped out at me and go, "Oh, that's kind of a fucked up,
The
real
thing
fucked up one."
is that if you spend some time chewing through the lyrics and actually taking them on, some of them are pretty pretty intense. So there's mentions like
That's why they are intense, but they're not enough to make me go, "Oh, that's super fucked up."
To be perfectly honest, I'm not really sure how you would get to that point without sort of delving into more of a psychological lean. Whereas this feels like more of like
more visual. I was more like a long pulling out guts and like
yeah.
real...
I mean, he sort of glosses over some of the gorier details, but he does say things like he Swiss cheesed a brother already. Right?
Yeah.
Like, and they talk about putting hooks in, and there's a fairly in that body for the pile song, pretty harrowing description of forcing a cop to basically put a gun into his mouth and shoot. Like,
yeah.
So like that's built
talking
into
about
the lyrics.
talking about the brain miner putting the gun in the bowl. That's not
Yeah.
That's not suspicious at all. Yeah.
So I mean, like if you take a second to stew on it and like disassociate the lyrics from the song, I actually think some of it's like, whew. And there's even one of the songs talks about like having the skin from the people that you've killed and wearing it like a coat.
Oh, you can't see the look on your face. Yeah. Until I wear it.
Yeah, absolutely. So like it's there, and I feel like part of the reason why I've enjoyed listening to it as much as I have is you pick up on, because there's so many damn lyrics in the album.
Yeah.
You pick up on like these different references throughout. And yeah, the more and more I stew on it, I'm like, oh, actually, that's kind of fucked up.
Let's talk about some of the sound effects.
Sure.
How about She's Bad with... Oh, how many times did you hear a song and get a shiver down your back?
The gate creaking sound.
Yeah, that got me.
It's like 200 years of rust on a gate. I really like this song because this also plays into that storytelling, right? Because you have like the song, it's about like these people, I think they're near a house or in the woods or something like that. And then the breakdown of the song happens and you get these awful metallic sounds, these high echoed auto-tunedy type vocals, and it just sounds like a poltergeist has literally come out of the fucking air to take you away. That's what that breakdown feels like to me. And then the lyrics shift afterwards. Basically, it's 200 years of rust on a gate. The people who were here didn't affect anything and now they're gone. Is kind of what it's saying. Yeah, I really enjoyed the sound effects on that one. I enjoyed all of it, like the door knocking in Neve Campbell, the gates in She Bad.
She Bad had just like two xylophone notes just constantly in the background. I was like, oh, that's all they were playing for a little bit of or most of the song. And I was like, that worked really well. Yeah. And it's good to see something like that. I
also particularly liked... I'm trying to think of other like sound effecty type ones. I mean, Eaten Alive has every sound effect thrown in.
Everything from the apprehension engine.
So for me, like that song... I feel is lyrically better than it is musically. There's not a ton of music in there.
Yeah, I get you.
The sound effects are cool, but I think it ended up coming off a bit more gimmicky than a strong track.
I guess it would have been hard considering they're mostly talking about dying and being eaten alive in the swamp. Like how creepy and how much music. The only thing you haven't got to throw in is the banjo from...
Right, yeah. That would have been funny, a little like lighthearted banjo over the top of, there's a cat eating the brains out the back.
Yeah, just something real creepy thrown in the back. Like, I can't even think of the movie it's from where there's the banjo scene.
Because I actually think like the lyrics in this song are pretty good. Yeah. They're fairly descriptive. I mean, I feel like there's swamps and crocodiles. There's a guy missing teeth who's obviously... a derelict who's causing all of this harm. And
they say crocodiles, but it's like, they don't have crocodiles.
Yeah.
They have alligators.
Whatever. Croc is probably a much easier word to
Word
fit
to
into,
rain.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a rhyme with. Lyrics throughout the whole album, I was surprised at how good they really were,
Yeah.
and how fluent he was to be able to spit it out so
Yeah.
quick
Yeah.
and understand it still. I was like, oh
Yeah.
my god,
He was pretty...
he was very, very
Yeah,
proficient.
articulate even when he was spitting quickly. Yeah, I totally agree. And so like it's not a case of me not understanding what he's saying. It's just a case of like my brain processing doesn't keep up with what he's saying, which is such a nice difference. Because there are times where you listen to like the Busta Rhymes stuff, and it's just bit. And I'm like, oh, what are you even saying?
Sure, we were let down, and I was super let down by this. But I'm glad that we found a rap album that you appreciate, that the spitting of the lyrics really do.
Well, I think
protrude.
I also like the fact that not every song is a beat up song. It's not, hey, look at me, I'm fucking great.
Yep.
I just get immediately turned off to that.
I see that. Yeah, it's hard to just want to be a part of this crew where they're just like, everything's about me. Everything I have, stop trying to come step to me. Yeah.
Whereas like this, because it's centered around a horror theme, all of the songs come from a totally different space. It feels interesting and narratively appropriate. Like we haven't even touched on another friggin' good song that I particularly like Pain Every Day.
Yeah, Pain Every Day.
Pain Every Day is about a guy who's dead and haunts people, basically. He's like, I'm going to make her scream until she pray. I'm going to make him run until he dead, The music in that one is awesome too, because like at the end of every chorus, it has these frenetic breakdowny bits where it's like the drums go nuts, and I feel like that's him in the dream space getting on his prey, right? Yeah, exceptional stuff.
Yeah, I thought the start was pretty good, almost like a Halo introduction, slowly building up, and then it just dropped into that real heavy beat and fast tempo. And you're like, holy shit, here we go. And then, it takes off. The outro on this song was probably my favorite in all of them.
Yeah, it was
like,
a good
it's
one.
finally nice, not the hell one. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Where my tinnitus is like kicking up.
Yeah.
And it feels like a fucking avalanche is all around me. But this was like an orchestra outro with Skrillex in the background. Like, obviously the DJ's coming through and switching shit up, and the drums are just going hell for leather at the end. I'm going to say that's my favorite outro. But that was one of my songs. I was like, oh, this is pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't hate the last proper song in Lansing. Yeah, I didn't care for it, but I didn't hate it. Like, I never skipped it when I was listening to it. The one that you're probably referencing, Make Them Dead, where it's like the intro is just that heavy wall of static. Yeah.
I was like, how many people are going to fucking just want to switch off right now?
Well, you see, for me, it'd come just after the Something Underneath. So I was like, I'm here for the ride. Like, if I liked that song, I'm willing to give this guy the creative rope to literally start a song with what could best be described as 5 seconds of blood-curdling, heavy static.
Yep.
I mean, and we let him get away with it in the intro as well, but that was cool. I liked.
I thought it was pretty cool, and the one-liners throughout, and then just like,
yeah, the vocals are creepy and the lyrics are cool too, but I'll probably skip on that one.
I'm not gonna, I was listening to that this morning. I was like, I don't want to do this one again.
Yeah.
And then the rest are pretty much looking like meat.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah. Look, I like the chimes in the background.
It has a cool line. He's like Tyson, just bite right through the ear.
Yeah. That's that little wit that comes from rapping that pops up. I love it. Those are the things I want you to be able to take away from rap albums.
The thing is, there's a lot of little love cards in there to other songs. Like there's an Outkast reference in there, in the Something Underneath, What's Cool and Being Cool? Ice Cold.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure in Check the Lock, he says that Uzi weighs a ton, which I'm pretty sure is a reference to some other previous rappers' lyrics. You've also got The Leaves Are Brown and the Skies Are Grey is one of the lyrics in there. There's these nice little love cards out there to previous songs, which I kind of enjoyed as well. It was a tiny, tiny bit of levity in what is a fairly dark album. But
cool.
Thoroughly enjoyable. Yeah.
I enjoyed the story. I won't be rushing to listen to it anytime soon.
You've had your fill?
I've had my fill, yeah. I definitely need a spacer between the times I listen to this album. Searching for new albums to listen for this week.
See, I think I'm the same. I think I won't listen to it for a while. I might pick certain tracks, but it's not because I don't like the music.
You'll probably put that in.
Oh, it's in my bangers list.
It's in your bangers list?
Absolutely. That's such a good song. The difference with this particular album is I think it plays more like a story. once you know the story well enough, you don't need to keep reading the story. You can kind of sit back and reflect on it and enjoy it in that way. So this is more narratively strong than it is musically strong. And I think that's one of its selling points. But because of that, I'm not enticed to go back and listen to it straight away, but not because I didn't like it at all. In fact, I'm probably going to rate it pretty well.
I don't know if you would suggest this album to anyone, but if you do find someone who likes Tyler, the Creator, you're going to like this album.
I think if you like something a bit off the wall in the hip hop or rap genre, or something that just has an edge of aggression, or if you like stories, honestly, this ticks a box. Yeah, because this is just not my normal music persuasion, but the musical choice is made, and the sound direction is excellent, and the lyrics generally throughout are tight, well considered, and play so well to the music that's behind it. I think it's just really, really well conceived.
Yeah, it's got a solid flow, even though you're sitting in this flow waiting to be pulled under and fucking killed or strangled or tortured. And yeah, if you don't want to breathe for a good 15 minutes or have a regular heartbeat, definitely throw this on. Like, yeah, this is a great story. This is what I want to find more of.
Great. I'm glad that this was a good experience for you, Brinny Boy, because it was for me as well. And I was worried that it wouldn't be, that we were really...
I'm missing the mark? Yeah.
Would you like to give it a rating?
No.
Any final thoughts?
Give it a go once.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen to this album. This album's good. I'm rating this an 8 out of 10. I thought this album was really good.
I was going to say 8.
I won't listen to it as much as the Strokes album, but I think I enjoyed it for the week that I listened to as much as I enjoyed that Strokes album. Yeah. It was just really good. Yeah.
Next week?
Presents.
I've got a game.
Oh, yes, I love games.
Because Matt brought a game last week, I was like, I can't let Matt fucking do this to me. So we're going to play rock, paper, scissors.
Oh, Rochambeau, love it.
Okay, ready?
All right, I'm ready. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I win.
Okay. So, Matt won, so that means, because we're going 3 rounds, and depending on the winning sequence is the album we get.
God, how many albums did you pick for the week?
Well, there's 8 sequences.
Oh, okay.
So King Gizzards and the Lizard Wizards, gone. C6 Steve and Love Peace, gone. One I really wanted you to listen to was Pup, P-U-P, This Place Sucks Ass, which is only a 20-minute album, but it's mint. They're EPs as well. Oh, that's Group Love, Healer.
Is that the sequel to Fuck Love?
This is the orgy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're better. They're a hell of a lot better.
Okay, well,
they're one of my favorite bands. Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Matt wins again. So now we get rid of Something for Kate, The Modern Medieval, and Tim Mitchin, Apart Together.
Actually, that'd have been kind of cool.
Yeah.
A comedy album.
Yeah, sort of. He's kind of comedy.
Yeah.
Now, last one.
All right, ready? Let's go.
1, 2, 3. Okay. The one that you would have listened if you did win was Timmy Trumpet.
Oh, good.
Mad World.
And now the one we're actually listening to, which I'm holding my breath.
Young Blood, Weird.
Any idea as to what they do? What's
Alternative.
Their Alternative.
That's about it. That's as much as I know. I've never heard it. Just saw it. Played the first one, and I was like, yeah, this will be good.
Okay. Well, whatever. I'm open to it.
All right. CDR. Gotta go. It's hot.
It is friggin' hot.
It's so hot.
All right, let's stop this podcast. It's
Bye.
so friggin' hot. Bye.